Today we're going to be doing a chicken stock. Now, before I dive in, this is a very, very big part of the diet. 6 cups a day, we're drinking this stock. It doesn't have to be chicken, whatever kind of animal that you have. So, why the meat stock? Why does it have to be warm? Why is our meat boiled? So let's just take it back to like way back when, like our ancestors, and how when they got an animal, it wasn't just the breast. It wasn't just the steak. They had to eat it all because they didn't know when their next meal was coming. And the best way to eat that was to put it in a pot, to cook down all those connective tissues, all that skin where like otherwise it'd be super chewy. The boiling helps to kind of make it more easily like to chew as well as to digest. But a beautiful thing in there that we've kind of lost today is those connective tissues, those kind of like frowned upon pieces of meat within the chicken. We're like, ew. At least I'm like, ew, I don't want to eat that. But because those connective tissues are there, and they're made up of insane amount of minerals, insane amount of vitamins, insane amount of amino acids, all of these beautiful and crucial building blocks. I call them healing blocks as well. We need to consume them. And if at first it's just by boiling them, that is great because whenever we boil them, we extract some of that beautiful goodness from that chicken or whatever piece of meat you're going to be eating. It's so important to heal and seal our gut because that's where we absorb any kind of vitamin or mineral, any kind of nutrition. Breaking down of anything we consume is in our gut. And if that is wrecked, no matter how clean we eat, we can't heal and we can't absorb the foods and things. So we focus heavily on healing and sealing our gut with this super easy, super nutritious meat stuff. And it feels like a cheat, to be honest, that we can heal and seal our gut with what I'm about to show you. It's fabulous. And then another thing too with drinking the soups and eating the soft meats, our body needs to get ready to heal. If you think of a little baby, you're going to give them warm things. They drink warm milk. You feed them warm foods. It's going to be the same for us because our body doesn't have to work hard to heat up the cold things. It's like, oh gosh, I'm already fighting off all these things. Now I have to warm up the food. We want to like give our bodies a little bit of a break and a little bit of love in eating these things warm. And the soup also aids in that like digestion, the liquid. So the meat, they're easy to chew. They're easy to digest. It doesn't mess with our gut. So yeah, that's like the big preface of the meat stocks. They're super nourishing, they're super healing, and they're also very filling because you have all that good broth. You're like, man, I'm not eating this much protein, or the broth does suffice. I felt very full in drinking these cups of broth. So without further ado, I'm gonna do the best I can to show you my things as best I can with my computer here. So here is my chicken. Okay. This is the bare minimum. And this is perfect if you just have a chicken. Sometimes chickens come with extra. They'll stuff things inside of the cavity for you, including the neck, the liver, kidneys, the stomach, the heart. This is bingo. You don't have to eat this and you don't have to put this in. If you want to, you can. And then this is also just extra. I know this is creepy at first, but this is a chicken foot. Farmers tend to sell them super cheap, but this is like loaded with collagen and a bunch of other of those like really awesome vitamins and minerals and amino acids you do not have to put in. Okay. Don't go looking for these. If you have them, great. If you don't, it's okay. It's just a little extra. This is what I do for my meat stocks today. And also, like, organs can kind of creep people out. It's like, oh, like, but animals in the wild, they go for the organs first. The muscle meat is like left to the vultures. They go for the liver, they go for the heart, because those are the highest in the vitamins and minerals and all of those good things. This is very valuable. And so, even if you don't eat it, you can at least boil it and you do get some of the nutritional value. Or if you're like, oh, this is too creepy, maybe you could just put it in your freezer for later. Like maybe when I work up the courage to put it in my broth, then I'll do that. So just know that that's an option. You do not have to do it. Okay. So this is my meat section. And then I just have this little bowl. It doesn't have to be like a glass bowl, but I have a glass bowl and spoon because once my meat stock begins to boil, there's going to be this like scum that floats to the surface. And those tend to be the impurities. So we just skim them off. You don't have to be perfect with it. Just do the best you can, skimming it off. And then I just have a tablespoon of salt here that I'm going to add. Sometimes I forget to add it, and it's okay. I'll just salt my stock whenever I drink it. So it's not a big deal to me if I salt it or if I don't. If I forget it, I'm like, oh, I'm just salt it whenever I eat it, which isn't a problem. And then this is my pot here. I think this is about an 8 quart. This is my very faithful, good friend pot that I've used for just about every stock, and it has worked out for me. So, of course, you have our pot here. And I have this strainer and this glass bowl. And again, use whatever you can. Do the best you with whatever you have. Don't go out and buy these things. Well, of course you need the pot, but you can do it with like, just the pot lid, like just very carefully, maybe have someone help you. Whatever kind of strainer you have, people have even used like cheesecloths. This just works really well for me in my system. So here we go. And then I have 2 half gallons of water that tend to work out pretty well for this 8 quart. Chicken in, and I'm just going to add all the other things in. Go my feet, the neck. I'm not sure what this is, but here's a heart. I think this is a liver. Yep. And that's the little piece of something. You move this out the way. And then to this, I'm just going to sprinkle my salt because I really like sprinkling salt. Okay. Salt is in there. Now, before I move on, with regards to the meat that you choose, like I said, it doesn't have to be chicken, but we want it to be meat stock, not bone broth. Bone broth is very nutritious, but it's too much for a damaged gut. So we want fresh, never cooked meat and bones with the meat attached to it. With, if you can, think of an 80-20 ratio, 80% meat to 20% bone. So we want more of the meat. The most nutritious meat, of course, is the organs, but also that meat that is close to the bone, those veins, those connective tissues. Those are so, so, so important. So even when you're making it with beef, and I'll do other meat stock videos with beef, like round steak or soup round, where it's a round piece of meat and there's a thick bone in the middle. So if you're wanting to do more of a meat stock like that, or if you have ribs, add in some stew meat to add more of that meat in there. So just remember that 80% meat to 20% bone ratio. And then another thing, this is an 8 quart with the chicken in it, of course, and I have a gallon of water. So I'm going to begin pouring it in. Something to keep in mind when you're adding the water is a 3-to-1 ratio. So 3 parts water to 1 part meat. And a simple trick that I like to measure that is like about when I put my finger on my chicken, like if the water's like an inch above the chicken, because we don't want to like waterlog like too much water, because we want it to be packed with the good stuff. So it's more concentrated in those beautiful building blocks that this meat stock will offer us. So this is where I'm at with a half gallon so far. Note the water line changes when I tilt it, but it's about halfway. So I'm going to keep on adding. It's almost to where I want it. It's like a little shy of my knuckle. I like it to be at like my middle knuckle. So this is a gallon with my chicken. So can y'all see this water line okay? It's like right here. Do y'all see that okay? Alrighty. Can be heavy. It's easier to do it just on the burner. And I'm going to cover it. And I bring it to a boil. I bring it to a boil at a little over medium heat. Let's see. Okay. And I cranked it up just a little bit so that y'all can see the scum and how to do that. So we cook it for 2 hours, but the timer does not start now. It starts whenever it comes to that boil. Whenever it comes to that boil, we begin our 2-hour timer and we lower it to a simmer. And then you just do whatever for 2 hours. Go lie down, whatever you'd like to do. And then once your 2 hours is done, turn it off, remove it from the heat, open the cover so it can just begin to cool. Wait for it to cool before pouring or anything so that you don't burn yourself. In my opinion, with this chicken and various chickens that I've done, the meat has always just beautifully come off the bone. I got mine from a store recently and it had the organs and things in it. It falls off a little bit easier. If you're getting it from your farmer, sometimes they have just their meat chickens, which I have done meat chickens before from a local farmer, and it has worked the same. After the boil 2 hours, the meat comes off. The one chicken that is a little bit tougher, if you're buying from your local farmer, is called the split hen. They tend to be cheaper because they are old laying hens. But the perk of it is it comes with the head and feet that are still on it. Like they're just like, whatever, let's just skin it and give it to them. Which I'm like, oh, yay, I have a chicken head and I have the feet. Like I got lots of good stuff here. But it was very difficult. Like it didn't fit in my pot. Had to like rotate it. So now I'm like, okay, should I buy another split hen? I'd want to chop it up a little bit and then boil it. But it's still like, it's a plus, you just have to kind of figure that out. And I learned that. So I get to tell you about that. So once this is finished and you pull apart the meat, basic thing that you can do if you want to take these organs and throw them in the trash or give them to the animal, you can do that. Or you can set them to the side, and I'll tell you what to do with that in a moment. Or you just take your chicken. I started out making soup jars, which were super convenient. I didn't have to cook every day. I could put them in the fridge or in the freezer. If you don't want to do that, you can just pull apart your chicken, put it in a container, and measure out half a cup, and then your broth, and have it like that. That's totally fine. It's less work and you prefer that it requires less jars and less counting all at once. You just do that. You have your jars of broth, your container of chicken that you just measure out for each serving. That's totally doable. Or you can do soup jars. I only have 4 in front of me because the others are being used. But if you just want to put the broth when it's finished, and here it makes about a gallon and some, and maybe a little bit in here. But if you want to do the soup jars, they're just ready to go grab meals. where it's like, I just pull this out the fridge or I pull one out the freezer for breakfast in the morning and I just set it in my refrigerator to thaw. And this is using all of the chicken. You, of course, do not have to use all of the chicken. Base soup jar is to start out. I followed the recipes of a half of a cup of chicken. And then I took those creepy organs and I finely chopped them. Or if I had a food processor, I would chop them because I'm like, gosh, this is free medicine. So I chopped it very finely at first because it was so creepy to me. I just like did the heart. I'm like, I'm just going to do the heart. And then I built my way up. Maybe I'll do half of the liver, but like you can't taste it. At least it's so fine and it's dispersed amongst about 12 jars, 12 of these jars that you can't really taste it. But it is still very, very beneficial for you. So that's optional. You do not have to add the organ. But so you have your meat base. There's flexibility here. So there's 6 8-ounce cups a day. I'm not the best in math, but starting out, I think I did for each meal like a cup and a half. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4.5. And then I think I had a snack of a cup. But you kind of play with this. Depending on how you want to disperse your broths, you can do 2 cups, you could do 1.5 cups, you can do 1 cup, however soupy or not soupy you want your soups to be, you get to decide. If you are going to freeze, make sure there's space at the top and refrigerate it first. Don't just, like let it cool on your counter once you're finished, be it in your broth jars or if you're doing the soup jars. Let it cool. And if you are hoping to freeze some, refrigerate it for 24 hours first. I've had many broken glasses and lost soups because I was like, I don't care. I got to get this frozen. And anyway, just to help you avoid that. Very, very important thing, because we're trying to get into ketosis and feel full, is fat. We want to be having fat. I highly encourage with each of your broth servings. I personally prefer ghee or butter. Could this be done in a slow cooker over a longer of time? It cannot. I know it'd be so convenient, but the problem is some of these slow cookers, it just doesn't pull out the nutrients as it would on the stove because of the way the inner lining that the slow cooker might be made out of. Some of the things that are released in that process could be inflammatory. And so we kind of stick to the stainless steel, the short cook time, because we don't want a bone broth. Another fat you can add is egg yolks. The white is more protein. The yolk is fat and it's full of good things. Of course, you want to get a good source. You don't have to do this, but it's a recommendation of getting the egg yolk from a good source, like a local farmer or Vital Farms if you're in the States. So if you can tolerate eggs, but you don't have to do this. You just kind of scoop out your egg white. You can throw it in the trash if you want to for this season, or you can store it away in the freezer for another season, whatever you want to do with it. But it makes your soups very nice and smooth. So you can try that out if you want to add more fat in. It's like a powerhouse for nutrients. Really quickly, it's not at a boil yet, but I just want to show y'all the scum that I'm about to skim off. Do y'all see those kind of things floating? Those like little, they look like little islands. So I'm just going to skim it all. See if I can show it to you without spilling. So it's just like a foamy kind of thing. that begins to form whenever it's being brought to the boil. It'll all rise to the surface, and I'll just skim it off. Tends to collect around the edges. It doesn't take long either. There might be more, but it's almost to a boil. I see it coming. So maybe in about a few more minutes, it'll come to that boil. So just to give you an idea, I want to say I began this stock around 35 minutes ago. And I think in 5 minutes, it's going to boil. So I know everyone's stove is different, everyone's pot is different. But to give you an idea of like, okay, it's probably going to be about 40 minutes until it's boiling. This is the second part of it where my chicken is finished. And I just wanted to show y'all the yield of the stock. So this is still kind of hot. So here's 1/2 gallon. And also, don't be afraid of this fat on top. I don't know if y'all can kind of see that little white rim. Don't be afraid of that. That's good stuff. Just mix it before you pour it, and it'll disperse throughout your soup jars. Another 1/2 gallon. And then 2.5 cups. So that's what yielded from that chicken.